It's time for Positively Kansas. Coming up, as agriculture and rural life continue to evolve, Kansans find creative new ways to prosper on the prairie. We'll show you how one couple is repurposing something old to create an unusual country experience for tourists. Also, a disease that affects 1 million Americans is made a little less scary and stressful thanks to a group effort underway in Wichita. Plus, a self-help book for donut lovers? Don't worry, the purpose isn't to get you to stop eating them. We'll show you what it's all about. And in our Kansas Wild Edge report, Mike Blair pays tribute to the amazing flora and fauna of Kansas with pictures, words, and music. I'm Sierra Scott. A half hour of information and inspiration is queued up and ready to roll on this week's Positively Kansas. Kansas agriculture has seen its share of changes over the decades. Small family farms have given way, in many cases, to large corporate operations. That means the rural lifestyle has to either adapt or disappear. The Chase County couple has come up with a novel way of enjoying country life while repurposing what's been left behind. Chris Frank has the story.
Chase County is one of our Kansas counties a busy city dweller might want to retreat to for a quiet and scenic getaway. It is nestled in the heart of the scenic Flint Hills. It's generally so quiet and peaceful here that one's inner thoughts can seem loud.
We advertise this as a quiet, secluded place.
But at times, even here in the backcountry woods, a little noise has to be made to bring improvement. Take this century-old silo, for example. Its sole purpose was to store livestock feed.
This is a concrete stave silo, and it's made up of concrete blocks about 10 inches wide, close to 30 inches tall, and then they're held together with a big metal rod.
Gerald Weens says it's been several years since the silo was used, so he and his wife Jan have the idea of repurposing it to fit their post-retirement work of operating a bed and breakfast cabin. The Weens built Paw Print Cabin in 2017. It's located a few miles northwest of Elmdale on Middle Creek Road. It sits back from the county road surrounded by grain fields and trees. Middle Creek is only a short walk out back, including a walking bridge to explore the opposite bank. Now, Weens was educated as a naturalist. He worked for Wichita Audubon Society as a naturalist 17 years, but he also learned carpentry with an industrial arts minor. So after retiring, he used those carpentry skills to build modern log homes and doing home remodeling repair work.
Since that first log home, I think I have built 6 or 7.
Paw Print Cabin, he says, will probably be his last cabin build. And now he's applying those cabin building skills to converting this silo into a bed and breakfast retreat.
The silo is going to be like an Airbnb, a bed and breakfast, just like our cabin.
The cabin and the silo are about 100 yards apart. But in such a rural setting, the Weens decided they won't rent out the cabin and the silo at the same time. They don't want clients to feel like they have neighbors. Even so, a large family or group could rent and occupy both at the same time.
This room is a bedroom.
The silo will have 2 bedrooms, one with a king-size bed, the other with a bunk and a double and a single. So 5 could sleep here. Now, there's no elevator in this silo, so if you don't like taking stairs to the 4th floor, it may not be the place for you.
Apparently, it's very unusual.
Unusual, yes, but not unique.
I mean, you see a lot of metal grain bins being converted into living quarters or bed and breakfast.
An internet search results in examples of grain bins converted into housing in Kansas and elsewhere.
But to go to a concrete stave silo, I think is very, very unusual.
Weems says he didn't find much information on the internet of people doing what's being done here.
There's very little information out there. Either people didn't post it or, it hasn't happened.
This silo is just under 16 feet in diameter inside. By the time an interior wall is installed, that diameter is about 15 feet. So these rooms on each floor will have a similar square footage of a 12 by 12 foot room. But there's no hallway connecting rooms here. Again, you've got to take the stairs. The big construction push on this came in the summer of 2022. Several extended family members arrived to help get the 4 floors and walls in place. That same summer, the roof was installed.
The roof was completely built on the ground, completely finished, metal on it, everything done. And we had a crane company come in and pick it up and set it on top of here for us. None of us had any desire to go up on a metal roof 45 feet up in the air. So,
since then, carpenter helper Christian Peterson and Weems have been working on completing the stairways, which is no small accomplishment because of the curves. Weems says it takes a lot of measuring and trimming for each step.
a lot of work.
Both say a circular stairway is more difficult to construct than a traditional stairway.
We knew the stairs were going to be complicated and time consuming, so we just put the stairs off for a while and we used ladders to get from first floor to second floor to third floor to up to the 4th floor.
A more typical stairway has steps that can be cut out in an almost cookie cutter fashion. But Weems says the two of them have to measure, cut, remeasure, recut, and maybe do it a few times with each step to get the steps just right.
We're in the kind of the finishing stages here for the stairs, and it's still a very complicated process.
As you can see, the wall side of the step is wider than the inside.
On the polygon,
Yeah.
so every angle is different as you go up.
This is why geometry can be one of those often dreaded but important subjects in high school.
This stringer right here on the outside wall is running at about 34 degrees. The stringer on the inside wall is running at about 46 degrees, much steeper angle.
And there are 14 steps for each of the 4 floors. Now, this old farm silo is tall, but it doesn't have a great diameter. So when it comes to making it a living space, it means each floor is pretty much one room.
We are standing in the bathroom. The bathroom has its own floor. That's the 3rd floor. That whole area is a shower. There's going to be a sink over there. Tucked back underneath the stairs will be the toilet.
Peterson grew up in Denmark and immigrated to the U.S. several years ago. Christian says he started learning carpentry by following his dad around in his shop as a youth.
So the finished carpentry I really enjoy, but I also enjoy this rough framing as well.
Now, the Weems don't know how receptive the public will be for this silo retreat. They have been pleasantly surprised with how their more traditional cabin has been in demand. Gerald says he and his wife thought maybe the cabin would rent 1 or 2 weekends a month, but instead...
And it just took off. 2020 was the pandemic. We had like 180 to 200 nights booked that year, and people were looking for a place to get away where they didn't have to wear their mask.
He says visitors were desperate to be somewhere secluded, simply where they could unmask and walk freely without fear of contracting COVID in the great outdoors.
We had people who come out and they said, we never left the property. We just kicked back, took our mask off, and they just needed to release and relax just a tiny little bit.
So a question remains of how much in demand these type of Kansas retreats will be as the pandemic moves further into our past. Then again, sleeping in a silo that traditionally would store livestock feed may be just different enough to be its own alternative attraction. In Chase County, this is Chris Frank for Positively Kansas.
You can find out more at pawprintcabin.com. Nearly 1 million people in the U.S. and over 10 million worldwide live with Parkinson's disease. Receiving this diagnosis leads to fear and uncertainty, but there is hope. Anna Spencer introduces us to a Wichita organization where individuals, their families, and caregivers can find needed support, fitness, education, and most of all, encouragement.
2, 3, 4, 5.
From the back of the room, Phil Michelle gets his daily reps in, but this is no ordinary exercise class. For Phil and the rest of the group, workouts like these are a vital treatment for slowing the progression of Parkinson's disease, the fastest growing neurodegenerative disease after Alzheimer's.
This is an illness that does victimize you, but I really didn't get a sense of all of what could be done in order to deal with this, and been very fortunate to be part of this group and this organization that's helped me find answers to a lot of the questions that exist out there.
Located on the Wichita State University campus, Club Parkinson's offers fitness classes, mental health services, education, resources, and an opportunity to connect with those coping with the disease. The program is open not only to those afflicted with Parkinson's, but also to their caregivers, a combination where everyone benefits.
Not only me, but other spouses and family members can be a part of too. And as a result, not only have our loved ones have benefited, and certainly in the progression, lessening the progression of their diseases, but all of us, I think, have become healthier.
At just over a year old, the Club Parkinson's wellness model is already making a big impact in the community. The program began with only 12 participants and has quickly grown to 50 members. The group meets 3 times a week with classes taught by certified therapists.
Until now, there has really not been a resource to help people with Parkinson's for all the other components to the disease. What we're finding is that research shows that we can change the brain and we can slow the progression. And if someone knows how to do that, they can live a high quality life.
And then bring it forward.
The group utilizes the facilities at WSU's Heskett Center, where they have access to classrooms, quality fitness equipment, and a swimming pool, among other amenities. Here, the program also uses specialized adaptive technology, research projects, trained interns, and it has the opportunity to collaborate with the counseling department, all in a multi-generational setting. Club Parkinson's co-founder Shanna Gaschit says the program fills a missing gap and helps members live their best lives while managing the disease.
Well, the general energy that is brought to the club has been phenomenal. They have recognized how the movement and camaraderie and community and just sense of being around others with Parkinson's makes a true difference, and they come back day after day, and it is truly making a difference in our community.
Club Parkinson shows participants how to better understand the disease and live with it, all while connecting with others. It's these shared experiences that make the program feel more like a family, with its social component helping to stave off isolation for so many.
It has really opened up our circle of friends, and this is a community. Everybody is so nice, and we compare notes and we talk about our Parkinson's experiences so far. And the fitness classes that are designed around Parkinson's have helped us.
While Delia and her caregiver husband are new to the group, they feel like they've found a much-needed support system.
Some of the people in there are fighting quite a battle, and it's touching to see, but this helps make it better.
And it's a combination of all these things and more that members say are truly making a difference. Club Parkinson's has proven to be more than the co-founders say they could have ever imagined, and they hope to continue to grow the program for Kansans diagnosed with Parkinson's and their caregivers. In Wichita, I'm Anna Spencer for Positively Kansas.
Club Parkinson's meets every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday on the Wichita State campus. Now to the sweet story of a Wichita woman whose sweet tooth inspired a self-help book of sorts. The book is called A Donut a Day. Anthony Powell gives us a taste.
I've always loved donuts.
But back in 2010, Jana Kolar's love would soar to new heights when she discovered the iconic donut hole on East Douglas.
I had never seen so many donut flavors in my life.
If you've ever been to the donut hole, you know the endless variety can be a little overwhelming, so Jonna decided to get organized.
I had a little pink spiral notebook in my car, and each time I would come, I would look at the donut, and then if I hadn't tried the flavor, I'd get a 6-pack, and I'd write the new flavors down. And I kept coming back, and so I told the previous owner, I said, if I ever hit 365 flavors of donuts, I'm gonna write a book called A Donut a Day.
It took several years, but by the time Jonna was done, she had tried 389 flavors, her devotion earning Jonna her very own donut called the Jonna.
Banana donut, double dipped in peanut butter icing with gold glitter.
At first, Jonna thought she'd write a book on all the donuts she sampled. She got stuck though. But one day while substitute teaching in Mays, a new book idea came to her.
Every day they have social contracts that the class reads before they start their day, and it basically says we'll respect each other, we'll listen to each other.
And those contracts were the catalyst for her 366-page book, A Donut a Day. A page for each day of the year, including leap years, reminding people to simply be nice.
And it's basically just promoting kindness with a play on don't, and don't becomes donut. So donut, lose your joy. Donut, you know you're special. Donut, you know you're lucky.
Jonna often shares her book's messages with her students.
People look different than you do. You know, people wear different clothes than you do.
Meanwhile, since its completion in late 2021, A Donut a Day has been a top seller at some Wichita area stores, including, appropriately, the Donut Hole. You can also find it on social media pages. The catchy title and messages are resonating all over the country, even with some celebrities. In the summer of 2022, Jonna and her daughter visited the Today Show in New York. Their sign caught the attention of anchor Hoda Kotb. As you can tell, Hoda was very happy to get a signed copy. Jonna says A Donut a Day has also helped people get through some tough times, like these friends of hers. When the wife asked her husband how she could lift his spirits, he responded,
"What about the Donut a Day book?" And he goes, "Well, you know, you read those to me every day. Why don't you just print it, and each morning when you come up, we'll put it on my wall." And she messaged me and she said that nurses and doctors that come in to draw blood are saying, "What does the quote say today?"
You can imagine the joy Jonna gets knowing how many people have had their spirits lifted by her book.
I just want them to use it as a reminder to just be kind. Just don't always think of yourself. You know, maybe think of other people and just, you know, give that person a smile or, you know, treat that person, you know, with respect.
In addition to spreading kindness, Jonna also wants A Donut a Day to provide hope and inspiration. Just look at her. Of course, it wasn't easy writing a book, but she never gave up, and it's been life-changing.
Don't stop believing.
For Positively Kansas, I'm Anthony Powell.
Kohler says a book like hers is more important now than ever, given the divisive times in which we live. The design and workings of the Kansas Wild are truly poetry in motion. And in this week's Kansas Wild Edge report, Mike Blair adds a little music to the mix. Take a look and a listen.
There are hilltops and open spaces where clean wind hasn't touched ground for 100 miles. Here, where stone posts etch the ridges and where wildflowers paint color into verdant grasslands, meadowlarks are nature's criers. The sky? It's an overhead sea where a sailing sun and fleeting clouds play like children to form running shadows. Umbral fingers spread and touch the land like hands of a musician, strumming as it always has, the landscape in an infinite symphony. There you feel the freshness of a moment that's always waiting, but one you manage somehow to almost never find. In such places, free and simple, the soul reaches out for a place called home. And those places are always waiting for you and me.
And out where the gravel ends, clouds floating by are the only measure of the pace life ought to feel. And out where the gravel ends, you can get things all sorted out. Just take a deep breath and listen to your heart and remember what life's about. There's no better place if you need somewhere to mend than out where the gravel ends. And out where the gravel ends, with a picnic, lunch, and a friend, you can spend a few hours or spend a few days till it all feels good again. And out where the gravel ends, in no time you'll be feeling better and find that you're ready to go back home again. From out where the gravel ends. And out where the gravel ends, where the birds are singing and the fish bite, wash away all your sins when you talk to the one who can make things right. And out where the gravel ends, in no time you'll be feeling better and find that you're ready to go back home again. From out where the gravel ends. In no time you'll be feeling better and find that you're ready to go back home again. From out where the gravel ends. Out where the gravel ends. Out where the gravel ends.
I'm Mike Blair for Positively Kansas.
Next time, Mike shows us how Kansas turkeys really strut their stuff each spring. That should be something to see. Each year, the city of Halstead becomes a destination for shoppers and merchants of art, antiques, and rustic items of all kinds. Correspondent Kevin Ivers takes us on a visit to the Kansas Barn Sale.
It's the first weekend in October, and the Kansas Barn Sale is already underway. The event features artists, vendors, and curators from all around the Midwest that come together to share their rare finds and handmade crafts with the public.
In about 2010, it was exactly 2010, I had this idea. I lived out on a rural farm property. We had a beautiful barn on the property that was built in the 1920s, and I just thought, what if I started gathering artists and vintage collectors, local pickers, and created a little show in my front yard. And within about a year to a year and a half, it exploded and caught on like wildfire, which was a great problem to have. So what makes the barn sale unique is really that it's a heavily juried show, which really hadn't been done in Kansas prior to this. And I became more of a curator of vendors, and I've been very strategic about who we have set up and who is represented here, because I want the best of the best, and I do want very friendly, happy vendors, because that creates friendly, happy guests. Well, I really like to showcase local talent, these makers and creators and people that have worked incredibly hard at their skill, or even if they don't have a creation that they're making, they are out picking auctions and barns and gathering this beautiful stuff to resell, and I really love to showcase them.
We spoke with several shoppers, and everyone was looking for something.
Anything vintage, something fun and different.
Well, we love rugged, primitive, and things like that, so we've been looking, and we found a ton of stuff here. This is a tradition for our family. We come every year that they've had it, and this is one of our very favorite sales and things to come to for the state of Kansas.
Some tin slats that we can decorate and paint. And super cool double spoon that I've never seen that I'm going to make lots of soup with.
And we got a bunch of projects going on. So we're going to make some displays at our boutique back home. We're going to do some painting on the windows to make some Christmas decorations. And then this lovely thing is going to be our new bar. Somebody that likes projects, this is their heaven right here.
No arts and crafts fair can be complete without food.
There's always fresh cinnamon rolls and pies, and we've got a local coffee roaster here who has, you know, phenomenal coffee. There's always new things like that that pop up that I wouldn't have anticipated.
This is about a group of 30 youth, I would say, and everybody has a job. Come out here and have a good time. We enjoy serving the community. Something we've done for quite a few years in the past. We sell hamburgers and chips and pop and pie as a meal deal, and just feel like it's a good thing we can do to help out.
The Kansas Barn Sale supports local artists and provides a warm atmosphere, making this event a wonderful stop every October. For Positively Kansas, I'm Kevin Ivers.
Well, that's a wrap for this week. Send your story ideas to positivelykansas@kpts.org. I'm Sierra Scott. We'll see you again soon.